We've made it to the end of December, friends, which means that we've made it to the end of 2025. What a year it has been. We've experienced a death in the family. We've had a few unplanned expenses, some high regular monthly expenses, high variable expenses, but we pulled through. Yes, we did. I'm super excited to share this video with you all because it will show all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into 2025, and it will solidify our hard work. In this video, I'm going to do the debt update for the month of December, but I'm also going to do a full summary of our year tackling debt. So grab a snack, a drink, and get comfortable, but please stay tuned. Hi, friends. Welcome back to Budgeting Over 40. I'm Melissa, and we're going to jump right in. So, as you guys know, we're on a journey to pay off debt. So, let's just get started. So, the first debt that I have here is my Discover card. Now, I was hoping to clear my Discover balance before the year closed out, but circumstances are what they are. I told you in the intro, we did have some high unplanned expenses, high variable, and some regular monthly expenses. So we just had to do what we had to do. The balance to start out the month of December was $2,400. We made a minimum payment. It was for $72 according to the statement. The extra payment that was paid was $28 just so I could clear 100. I had no purchases, no interest, and I closed out the month of December with a balance of $2,300. The next debt that's up is my personal loan. The balance at the start of December was $29,606.40. The minimum payment for this one is $1,151.04. We did make that payment. There is no extra, no purchases. We did lose some interest, you guys, but this was a good one. The interest was under $300 for the month of December. We came in at $299.07. I did show you guys this in one of my videos, and I am so very happy to see this number go down. So we closed out the month of December at $28,754.43. So we're down $1,000 mark. Way to go, Melissa. Next one is the 401k loan. Started at a balance of $15,425.82. We made the minimum payment of $408. There was no extra payment, no purchases. We did lose some interest, which is pretty good with this one as well because it is under $70. We paid out $65.43 and we closed out the month $15,083.25. So we didn't quite make it under the $1,000 mark, but we'll get there. The next debt that's up is my auto loan. Balance to start out December was $23,623.09. The minimum payment is $939.23. No extra payment was made, no purchases, and the interest that was lost on this one was $116.18. So this wasn't bad. And we closed out, you guys, under $1,000 mark at $22,800.04. So good. I am so very excited. Moving on to the student loan, the balance to start out was $790.96. The minimum payment of $40 was made. No extra, no purchases. The interest that was lost was $3.30. So this one is going down. And we closed out the month at $754.26. Awesome. Now you guys are going to hear me talk about the goodness, the awesomeness. I'm so very excited because just seeing the numbers go down, it made me feel so good. Next debt is my Apple Card. The balance to start out December was $3,050. I did make the regular payment of $25 or the minimum payment. I did have to make some extra payment to this one because I wanted to clear the interest, and I should tell you what the interest is first. Because I wasn't able to clear the statement balance for November, I had to pay some December interest on this, $41.09. So what I did do was go ahead and make an extra payment of $41.09. Only because in YNAB, you do have to cover your credit card interest. So I went ahead and do that. There was no purchases on this card that wasn't covered. So I closed out December at $3,025. So good. Next debt is Mattress Firm. $1,320 was the opening balance. I made the minimum payment of $67. No extra, no purchases, no interest. So we closed out at $1,253. Now, this is where it should have ended. And this is the only part of this update that kind of bummed me out a little bit. And I was getting a little bit discouraged, but I said, you know what? I'm just going to brush it off. We're going to regroup and we're just going to get back on the horse. So I did mention to you guys that hubby wanted to order new furniture. He did. He was the one taking care of this bill every month, but I decided to put it as part of our debt as a family. So I have TD Bank here it's for Raymar and Flanagan, but the bank is through TD Bank. I didn't put that we started with any balance because I'm not counting what it was for the end of November. I'm just going to start it where it is in December. I did make a minimum payment of $128. Now, there is no interest. It's going to be 0% interest for the life of this debt that we have to pay off. So I did make a $128 payment. And I need to tell you guys, if you hear some noise, it's the wind. It's so very windy outside and the wind is howling. So anyway, there was no extra payment made to this one. There was no purchases. And actually, I should say there was purchases because this is where I'm putting the opening balance. So before I made the $128 payment, the balance was $8,527.95. So that's where I'm putting the purchases, but there is no interest. So what we closed out December with, the balance was $8,399.95. And like I mentioned, you guys, I was a little bit bummed about this one because I really did not want to add this as part of the debt, but it is something that we're paying back. And it is actually coming out of the income that hubby is transferring in. And that's the reason why I have put it to be a part of my debt or our household debt that we're paying off. Because before I added this, he was sending the money separately. And then I realized that it kind of all melded together. So I am counting it. And unfortunately, our debt went back into the 80s. So the starting balance for the month of December was $76,216.27. And we're ending at $82,369.93. Now, I have already sulked and sighed over this one, and I'm just going to let it go. It is what it is. We've been in the 80s before, and we've knocked it down, so we can do it again. That's how I'm looking at it. So what I'm going to do now is go down to our debt progress, because this part, I'm super excited about this as well. Now, here is our debt progress for the month of December. When we started on this journey in October of 2023, the total balance on our debts was $123,217.48. Like I mentioned, last month's total, $76,216.27. This month's total, $82,369.93. So we went in the opposite direction and we added technically $6,153.66 to our debts, and we reduced our progress from where we were by 8.07%. It is what it is. Our overall debt reduction, $40,847.55. So now we're at 33.15% paid towards debt freedom. This is what we've paid off from the 123,000. So the next section I'm going to talk about is just a summary of all the categories. So I do have credit cards, a personal loan, an auto loan, a 401k loan, and a student loan. So to start out the month of December, our credit card balance was $6,770. We increased it, went up to $14,977.95. So that's a difference of $8,207.95. The good thing about this is for TD Bank, we're at 0%. For Mattress Firm, we're at 0%. Discover, we're at 0% until the middle of January, and this is one of the debts that I'm planning to knock out. The only one that I do have interest on, and I should change this because my Apple interest is 27.49%. And I'm not going to be paying any more interest on Apple because we're going to cut down this balance. I need to get rid of it just so I'm not paying $41.09 in interest going forward. So back down for the personal loan, I only have one of those. So we've cleared, because I spoke about the opening and the ending balance, we've cleared $851.97. This is awesome. For the auto loan, we cleared $823.05. For the 401k loan, $342.57. And for the student loan, $36.70. So here you go. The difference in the debt is $6,153.66, like it is here, but it is a positive number. So we went up. So looking from the 76 to the 82, it's not too far. We can get back down into the 70s, and I think this will happen in January. So even though we increased the debt in December, come January, we're going back down. All right, you guys. So the part that I'm so very proud and so very happy to share this section with you. It is the interest that I've lost on all these debts, and I'm comparing 2025 to what we lost in 2024. Are you guys ready for this part? I'm so excited. So, all right, you guys, here we are on the interest section. I do have to scroll up a little bit so you guys could see everything. In the month of December 2024, you guys, I lost $747.62 in interest. And in 2025, the end of December, we only lost $525.07 in interest. And that's a difference of $222.55. Not too bad, you guys. Not too bad. So I did tell you that I was going to tell you the difference between what we lost in 2024 to 2025. So in 2024, you guys, the interest that we lost to all the debts that we were paying, $14,751.47. And look at this number for 2025, $8,330.42. You guys, what's the difference? The difference with those two numbers, or between those two numbers, are $6,421.05. That's the difference in what we lost in 2025 as compared to what we lost in 2024. You guys don't know how happy this made me. If you're looking at all these numbers, there were only 2 months, January and May, that we paid over $1,000 in interest. Everything else was less than $1,000. And for most of the months, from July all the way down, I should say the second half of 2025, we lost under $600 in interest. I am so very proud of us to see this. So very proud, you guys, because one of my goals for 2025 was that I wanted to come in less than 10K in interest, and we did it. We did it, you guys. So very happy. I did also create a new spreadsheet because I told you I am going to show you a summary of our year paying off debts. And we're going to jump and take a look at that. So here is our overall debt picture. I do have to zoom out a little bit, so I'm gonna hope that I don't go too far out because I do want you guys to still see the numbers. So this is my overall debt picture for 2025. The balance to start out 2024. So before I get to the balance, I do have all the debts listed on the top for what I started or for what I ended 2024 with. So I had a Capital One card, a Capital One number one, and a Capital One number two with balances. The Apple Card, Mattress Firm, Discover. I didn't have TD Bank, but I did have to add it. Student loan, 401k loan, personal loan, and the auto loan, personal loan. So where we started, January 1st of 2025, our balances at that time, total debt balance was $101,375.63. That's where we started 2025, you guys. Unbelievable. So for my Capital One number one, I had a balance of $1,593.16. And look at that. We ended 2024 with that balance. And for all of 2025, you guys, from January to December, there is no balance on that Capital One card. There was not a month in 2025 that we closed out with a balance on the Capital One number one card. For Capital One number two, we ended the month of December 2024 with a balance of $2,946.82. In January, we closed out $2,830.17. In February, we closed out at $2,767.12. And then from March until the month of December, you guys, zero balance. But before I go any further, I will have to tell you that this balance was transferred to my Discover card in the month of March. So you could see that we went from zero here, and I'm going to jump to Discover. We started at a zero balance, but in March we gained $5,520.60. That was the balance transfer, because also in March was when I did my implant, and I did charge the implant to my Capital One number one card, and I transferred that balance before the month closed out onto the Discover card. So that's why I don't have a balance on that card. It went straight to the Discover card. We're going to come back to Discover. So the Apple Card started at $1,873.59. We were paying down nicely, as you could see, until about July. So in July, we were at $950, but in the month of August was when I had to pay for my crown. So I did have to pay for the crown, and the balance went up because I charged it to this card. So it went up to $2,791.50. In September, it also increased again to $3,100, and we're closing out December at, this is wrong, it is $3,025. Need to change that. So ultimately, we did increase the Apple Card by $1,151.41. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. The next debt is Mattress Firm. Now this one is 0% and we're just paying it down. So we started 2025 with a balance of $2,057, and we continuously paid it down by $67 each month and closed out at the $1,253 for a reduction of $804 over the year 2025. So this is also great. So now the Discover card, we started 2025 at zero, but we did transfer the balances. And at first, I wasn't even really thinking about paying this down. So in March, I had the $5,520.60. Then in April, I only paid the minimum payment. So it only came down about $160, I think. In May was the same thing. I didn't come down too far. But in May, I decided, like, listen, Melissa, if you don't want to pay the interest on this debt, you're going to have to pay it down. So I started throwing big chunks. So I did that in June, July, August, and September at the debt. So In September, we did go away to Canada as a family, and because of that, I didn't throw as much as I wanted to the Discover card. And then we had to start getting heating oil every month. So we had to end December. We're ending 2025 still with a balance of $2,300. But this is going to go away in 2025. Now, TD Bank, we didn't have it to start out the year, but you could see that December we had the $8,399.95. Now, let's talk about the student loan. To start out the year, we had $1,192.02, and we continuously paid it down, you guys. So, May was the last month we were in the $1,000 range, and we closed out at the $754.26. So, that's a reduction of $437.76 by just throwing the minimum $40 payment to this debt. So, I'm pretty proud of this one, and I'm so very happy to see it. So now the 401k loan, to start out 2025, we had $19,160.43. We are just paying it down nicely. So we ended the year at the $15,083.25. So that's a reduction of $4,077.18. Auto loan, we're paying it down. So from $32,341.53, we reduced that debt by $9,541.49. So look at this, you guys. Paid it down. Paid it down. So 32 to 31, there were 2 months we were in the 30 range. Then we went to 29, 28, 27. 2 months we were in the 26, 25, 24, 23. Now we're at 22. All right, so personal loan, we start out 2025 with two. I believe I had Upgrade and Lending Club. The balances at the time total $40,211.08. We consolidated and I took out the SoFi loan in May. So you could see here the 34,500. I paid off the other two and we started paying down the SoFi loan. So total we've paid to personal loans over the year 2025 is $11,456.65. Not bad, you guys. Not bad. So you could see the totals here. We went from $101,375.63. And if we did not have this TD Bank credit card, let's take this out for a second. We would have been at $73,000, you guys. And that would have been $27,405.65 in debt paid. But we had to add the TD Bank, and it is what it is. So we went from 101 down to 82. So that's a total of $19,005.70 that was paid off to debts. Technically, we did pay off the $27,000, but because we added the $8,000 for TD Bank, that's why our numbers went down to 19. All right, you guys. So one other section that I do want to show you, and I am happy to show you guys this one as well. I did put it on the bottom of this spreadsheet. So the credit card balances, I have 2024, the balance, and I'm showing you the interest that we lost to these debts compared to 2025, the balance and the interest that we lost. So for credit cards, the end of 2024, we had a total balance of $8,470.57, and we paid, you guys, wow, we paid out to credit card interest $4,643.81 in 2024. Unbelievable. It's believable, but it's really unbelievable as well. So we ended 2025 at $14,952.95, and we've only paid interest to credit card debt for 2025, you guys. Look at this number. Not even 500. $378.31. Can you guys believe that? $378.31. So very nice to look at. The personal loan, like I mentioned, we went from $40,211.08. We did pay out $6,577.07 compared to 2025. We've only paid out $5,361.78. And I did already mention what the balance for the personal loan is. For auto loan, the interest we lost in 2024, $2,284.47 compared to 2025, $1,729.27. For the 401k loan, we did lose $1,196.62 in interest in 2024, and in 2025, $818.82. For the student loan, this one is sort of the same because at one point they were calculating the same interest every month. So $49.50 was lost to interest in 2024, and $42.24 was lost in 2025. So, you guys, I am so very proud, and I can't say it enough. I am so very proud of the progress that we've made on the debts over the last year because, you guys, at one point we weren't doing this. At one point you would see that our credit cards would have went from like 8,000 to like crazy numbers, not because we added a big debt, but just because we were paying that much in interest and we weren't paying down. We weren't being smart about how we pay down the debts. And we weren't being smart about how we spend our money. We weren't being smart about how we spend on credit cards. But I've learned a lot of lessons over the last 2 years, so 2024 included. I've learned a lot of valuable lessons, and that's what has taught me what to do when it comes to debts. So we still have a ways to go because we still have $82,000 to pay off, but we're taking it one step at a time and we're going to knock these debts out. So, you guys, thank you so much. If you've stayed to the end of this video, please leave me a purple heart in a comment. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for sticking with me through this journey. If you've been here from day one, I thank you so very much for sticking with me throughout this whole journey. You know, we've been on a roller coaster ride. We've made some not so good decisions with money, but I think we're on a good track and we're going to continue to move towards our debt free goal. So, thank you so much for taking the time out to watch this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I talk to you all in the next one. Have a happy new year.